I was in my classroom that was down in the Diamond back then, and our principal came on and said to turn off all TVs and to check our email. And then when we went to the email, it said if you were without students, you could watch TV. Otherwise, you need to have it turned off so students can't see it. And it was very upsetting. And then all of a sudden, we realized that one of our teacher's friends' brother was there, and we didn't know if he had been hurt or injured or anything. And so we spent the day waiting to hear from him, and he was killed in it. So it was just a horrible day, and every year I think of her and losing her brother.
It was my freshman year of college, and I had just moved into to college, and it was a couple of weeks into class. And so what I remember about that morning is that I had an 8 a.m. class, and it was Western Civilization. And then after class at 9 o'clock, I was going to my job on campus, and my job was in the student center. And so I walked in to the office, and the other guy that worked there in the office said something about a plane hitting the World Trade Center. And so at that moment, we really it's hard to describe to y'all, people your age, about what the world was like then, but we didn't really have, or at least from my perspective, we didn't have a lot of fear about kind of like other countries trying to harm us or terrorists. The word terrorist wasn't even really a thing, to be honest, in my concept. When you rode airplanes, your family members could just walk you out to the gate. It wasn't any kind of huge security measures. So we didn't really have a concept of that. So at that moment, it felt like this was like an accident that had happened, like a pilot maybe had done something accidentally, or maybe because of a health problem or a mental health problem. But so we went next door to where in the student center there was like a big TV where kids could gather and watch TV, and so they had it on there. And together we were watching the Today Show and watching the responses from the people on TV, the journalists, and they were kind of as shocked as anybody else. But I remember real vividly as we were watching the second plane come around and hit the tower. And then we watched all morning. We watched as the towers fell on live television. So it was pretty wild to watch that on live TV.
Yes, on September 11th, 2001, I was at Applebee's where I was a waitress, and I walked in and it was on the news, and I'll never forget that, where I was. I immediately called my mom because my brother was in active service, and he was called immediately to go overseas on that day. So that was that day, his very first day being called overseas on that day. So I'll never forget that. And then I called my husband, who was teaching at a school. So, yeah.
We started the 2000s with a sense that we might be in danger, and this was the first time in my lifetime that we really thought that here in the United States we could be in danger from anything. So we started to think about some of the safeties that we had around us. Sometimes we increased safety.
What I think has really changed since then, most of all, is fear. And I do see that getting better now, but I remember like right after 9/11 happened, how afraid people were. You know, I think especially in the white community, people that I had been around were afraid of people who they associated with 9/11, which was wrong. And I remember one time my mom and I were flying somewhere. It was probably 6 or 8 months after 9/11 had happened. And we were a little bit nervous because the airport was buzzing and it was very different. The feeling of it was different with security. And when we got up to our ticket gate, or our area to get the ticket, I remember there was a family who was Muslim that was in front of us. They had 2 little children. There was a mom and a dad. They seemed very sweet, quiet. They were checking in a huge brown box. And it was big. I mean, I remember it being very big, probably 3 or 4 duffel size, large duffel size. And I remember, you know, hearing people talk behind us about what was in the box. You know, people were kind of whispering. The attendant walked off, and all of a sudden, police officers came out to the family, and the child was holding onto the mom's leg, and the police officer with a knife cut open the large box, and children's clothes fell all over the floor right by the terminal, the Delta terminal. And I just remember standing there with my mom, and we were both very shocked by it and startled, and you know, there was tears in the mom's eyes, and I remember turning to my mom and just saying, like, you know, this is worse. Like, we are so afraid of each other now in our country, and you know, that clearly this family was completely innocent and helpless, and they had been treated horribly. And just to look at the parents who were looking at all of us, you know, and they were just so hurt.
It was a terrorist attack on America. He even made YouTube videos like saying to the world how much he hated America.